This is a blog post from Uber Engineering. AI prototyping is changing how we build products at Uber. This is from product managers, and so I will be a little skeptical about this one. Okay, 2 hours of prototyping unblocked, 4 weeks of discussion. That's how a product manager at Uber's merchant team described the impact of using AI in their product development lifecycle. They used AI to quickly customize a prototype to a specific merchant's catalog as part of the product research exercise. The merchant understood it immediately and gave specific and actionable feedback. Internal alignment followed just as quickly. The ambiguity that had stalled the project evaporated. This moment wasn't an outlier. Over the past year, we've experimented with AI powered prototyping across Uber's product organization. We've kept seeing the same pattern. Ideas that once required weeks of cross functional coordination could now become tangible in hours. Clickable workflows and interactive demos showed up much earlier in the product lifecycle, often before a PRD, product requirements document, was fully formed. That shift also changed the nature of conversations. Instead of debating abstract descriptions, teams could react to something concrete. AI prototyping is reshaping how teams explore ideas, align on direction, and move towards execution. Not as a replacement for established product practices, but as a capability that makes them more effective. Why this matters at Uber? We build globally, we live locally. At Uber, even small product changes span multiple teams across regions and functions, including product, engineering, operations, policy, and legal. Creating shared understanding at scale is challenging. Hmm. Even for someone who's worked briefly in the industry, this comes out quite clearly. AI prototyping reduces the cost of coordination by making ideas tangible early. Instead of debating written descriptions, teams react to the same artifact, moving fast forward. What matters most? Building high quality, intuitive experiences for our customers. At Uber scale, this translates directly into faster iteration and better decisions. What we mean by AI prototyping. By AI prototyping, we mean using AI assisted tools like Lovable, Figma Make, Claude Code, and Cursor to generate and iterate on interactive flows quickly so teams can test assumptions, gather feedback, and align before decisions harden. Three patterns we keep seeing. Prototyping wasn't driven by a mandate or a new process. Teams reached for prototypes instinctively when they needed to move faster or work through ambiguity. One clear signal came from the global Uber Tech Hackathon. Nearly 40% of the submissions incorporated a prototyping tool. Prototypes weren't used as final polish, they were used to think through ideas, explain systems, and align quickly under time pressure. Looking across these experiments and day to day work, these patterns stood out: greater exploration of ideas, faster alignment, and unblocked execution. Greater exploration of ideas. One of the clearer shifts was how easily teams could explore multiple ideas early, which changed the shape of decision making that followed. Historically, exploring multiple directions was expensive and coordination heavy. That naturally pushed the teams to converge early. AI prototyping lowered that barrier. Instead of narrowing quickly, teams could explore broader set of possibilities upfront, often before designs or specifications were locked in. A product manager or a business platform team described exploring six distinct concepts for the same problem in about 20 minutes. Previously, that level of exploration required multiple iteration cycles. The important change wasn't speed for its own sake. Exploration moved earlier in the life cycle. Teams could test assumptions before PRDs were logged, before architecture decisions were hardened, and before committing to a single path forward. Faster alignment. If exploration was the first visible shift, alignment was where the impact became more apparent. The large part of product work is helping teams build understanding across product, design, engineering, and leadership. Even with strong PRDs, alignment often depends on how well people can translate written intent into a common mental model of experience. AI prototyping changed the starting point of those conversations. Instead of asking team to imagine how something might work, PMs or designers could put concrete, interactive artifact in front of them. Conversations moved quickly from what is this to is this the right approach? A product manager working on complex cross functional systems summarized the effect. We achieved high level alignment across product, partners, design, and engineering with much lower turnaround time than a document only process. This shift also changed how ideas travel upwards. A product manager on a platform team noted using a prototype to show rather than tell made it easier for senior stakeholders to understand the direction and engage in more substantive discussions. When teams could react to some tangible artifact, feedback became more specific and actionable. Alignment happened earlier with fewer interaction gaps to resolve later. Importantly, this did not replace PRDs or design reviews, it strengthened them. Teams enter those forums already grounded in something concrete, which made written discussions more focused and productive. Number three, unblocked execution. Alignment is about shared understanding, execution is about momentum. The third pattern we saw was how AI prototyping helped team move from alignment to action by collapsing uncertainty earlier in the life cycle. Execution rarely stalls because teams disagree, it stalls because key questions surface too late. Scope, sequencing, and what counts as the MVP often come out right when engineering is ready to start, slowing progress even after alignment has reached. Prototyping pulled those questions forward. And here they show a prototype of Uber Eats Manager with a sidebar, um, which has a menu, a prototype that helped define the MVP for Uber Eats Manager's catalog management experience. Across several teams, another execution benefit showed up repeatedly: clearer MVP definition. Having a prototype made it easier to agree on what was a scope versus what could come later. As one PM put in, having a prototype made it much easier to distinguish MVP from post MVP, which allowed engineering to start sooner with clearer boundaries and fewer open questions. Execution did not get faster because teams skipped steps, it got faster because teams entered those steps with fewer unknowns and could start building earlier with clearer scope. Prototyping didn't kill the PRD, it became its sidekick. As AI prototyping became more popular, the natural question emerged: do we still need PRDs? In practice, we found the opposite. Prototypes are powerful because they make ideas tangible. They give teams to something concrete to react to and making early discussions faster and more grounded. But prototypes are experimental artifacts. I am assuming that this is experimental because experiential. Okay, never seen that word before. They show what an idea might look like or how it might work, not why a direction was chosen, what trade offs were made, or which constraints shaped the decision. This is where PRDs continue to matter. If prototypes help team experience the future, PRDs help teams align on it. One without the other creates the risk. A prototype without a PRD can drift away from the problem the team intends to solve. A PRD without a prototype can remain abstract, um, leaving room for inconsistent interpretations. This is actually a really good point they make here. Um, that the prototypes, even though they can be built really well with the AI tooling available these days, um, it's probably not a good idea to replace PRDs with just the prototypes because PRDs essentially represent specifications and requirements of a system, and PRDs represent it better than prototypes ever can. You can think of it like Batman and Robin. You can operate solo, but they're far more effective together. Prototypes open up the space quickly. PRDs slow things down just enough to make decisions explicit and durable. This becomes even more important when many cross functional stakeholders, such as legal, ops, policy, marketing, data science, and platform teams, are involved in review and sign off. In those cases, a prototype can accelerate early product conversations, but the PRD is still what carries the details and clarity needed for final decisions. What emerged wasn't a replacement, but a pairing. Problem framing, early prototyping, a sharper, more informed PRD, final designs. Prototype first versus PRD first. In practice, the right starting point depends on what you're building. Prototype first if the problem area is ambiguous or unfamiliar, the team needs fast stakeholder alignment, the solution space requires exploring multiple directions, the user flow complexity is high, the initiative needs leadership buy in to unlock resources, the product is internal facing or low stakes. The goal is early vision exploration. PRD first if the product is mobile first. AI prototyping tools often underperform here currently. The problem is strategic, not UI heavy. The product is mature and decisions have ripple effects. The domain is high risk, compliance sensitive, or safety critical. The dependencies are complex, legal, infra, data. The scope evolves, modifying an existing feature with clear constraints. The product is external facing and fidelity expectations are high. Quite a good checklist, I would say. Pitfalls of AI prototyping and how we avoid them. As prototyping got easier, we also learned where it can go wrong, especially when prototypes get mistaken for decisions. The goal isn't to prototype less, it's to prototype with guardrails. Good advice there. Pitfall. Um, Prototype seduction. Signs. It feels real, so teams commit too early. Guardrails. Label prototypes clearly as representations, not decisions. Skipping the why. Team jump to what and lose justification. Guardrails. Attach a one pager problem statement to every prototype. Who's it for? Success metrics, constraints, trade offs. Anchoring bias. The first prototype controls the narrative. Guardrails. Run quick problem framing workshops before anyone prototypes. Poor collaboration. Signs. Feedback gets scattered in meeting notes and DMs. Pair prototypes with APRD or shared feedback doc as a source of truth. Prototyping isn't free. PMs told us high quality prototypes still takes 3 to 8 hours. AI helps, but edge cases, realistic data interaction, and iteration loops still cost time and money as well because AI tools are not free. The tokens that are used in those 3 to 4 hours cost a lot. Guardrails, time box cycles. No prototype survives more than 3 days of polishing. Hmm. Because getting stuck in the prototype and keep on refining it is actually a trap that a lot of us fall into. What changed when everyone could prototype? We made a deliberate decision early on to open up AI prototyping beyond product teams. Instead of limiting prototyping to PMs or designers, we made it accessible across engineering, platform, and operational teams. We wanted to see what would happen if more people could turn ideas into something tangible. The results were immediate. Engineers used Prototype to spin up interactive dashboards and rethink engineering workflows. Operational teams used to simplify processes and explore internal tools. For example, EMEA sales team built their own opportunity tracker to find relevant leads instead of relying on an off the shelf tool. Instead of describing ideas in documents or tickets, teams could show what they mean. When ideas can be shared in a form others can interact with, best ideas rise regardless of where they come from. Assumptions surface earlier, discussions become more concrete, proposals are evaluated on their merit rather than source. This directly reinforces a core value at Uber. Great minds don't think alike. By opening up prototyping across the company, we created space for more perspectives to shape solutions earlier. Engineers, operators, designers, and product teams could all contribute meaningfully, and the resulting ideas were stronger because of it. Open questions. What's next? As AI prototyping becomes faster and most widely used, the questions we're asking have shifted from whether this works to how the rest of the product system should evolve around it. What's the evolving role of PRD? If going from idea to prototype is now fast and cheap, the PRD can no longer be the primary place where ideas are defined. Its value increasingly lies in capturing intent, trade offs, success metrics, and decisions. We're actively exploring where AI can help draft and refine this thinking and where human judgment needs to remain explicit and durable. How do we use AI to gather insights faster? When prototypes are easier to create, teams can test assumptions earlier and more often. That shifts the bottleneck from building artifacts to learning from them. We're thinking about how AI can help synthesize feedback, surface patterns, and turn interactions into insights at a pace that matches this new speed. How do we move from prototype to production? Prototypes are powerful for exploration, but production requires rigor. We're working through how prototypes inform architecture, design systems, and engineering work without being mistaken for shippable solutions. The challenge isn't speed alone, but knowing when to transition from exploration to commitment. Conclusion: AI isn't accelerating early stage work, it's changing how product development, decision making, and execution fit together end to end. Product development has followed largely the same life cycles for decades. With AI, we have an opportunity to rethink it. The patterns we're seeing are already translating into faster iteration cycles, earlier alignment, and clear decisions before teams commit to building. We're taking steps at Uber to evolve how teams explore, align, and execute, and we'll continue sharing what we learn as this drives real gains in speed and quality, including how these workflows extend beyond prototyping into deeper building and iteration. We're excited to keep learning alongside broader tech community about what works and what doesn't.